What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about 6 different stocks today. Yes, we are. We're going to start it off with LPSN for David Stevens, RGS for Dr. Mike. Dr. Mike, I know I told you to get the first spot, but I actually have forgotten to do LPSN for David Stevens now for like the last couple request videos that I've done. So that one is going to take priority, but RGS is right after that. At the request of Dr. Mike, Coin for Tri Kings, Massfin for Babu, MP for NK, and AMC to finish it off for Tough Honor. And that's the list. Those are the requests. So hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more, you guys. Let's get into this. I didn't know I had my fib pulled up there already. Let's see, looking at the daily RSI, I'm not too enthusiastic about the price right now. You know, I think there's potential for it to definitely bottom out here, but you might go lower first is what I'm thinking. I do think that you're setting up for a bottoming formation. This does, I mean, if this were to be an Adam and Eve, this is a perfect Adam. You know, you could be setting up your Eve right now. It's pretty common for an Eve to go slightly lower. I would say I don't know if it's more common for it to go slightly lower, for it to be like I don't know, but it's pretty common to be near this area, of which, you know, to a certain degree we are near it now, but I think we would get closer. So whether it's a slightly lower low, a slightly higher low, or a dead even double bottom, that's what I would expect to see of this thing over the coming weeks, probably, right? This isn't going to take 2 days to achieve. It's probably going to take I would think sometime in July, maybe like 2 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that to achieve. But you'll probably see prices down. Let's just look at this relative. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. Relative low to high. Your 1618 is just below that low. Your 1272 is just above it. You know, anywhere from like 49 cents to 44.5 cents. That's where I think you're going to go. I do. I actually very much do think that's where you're going to go. And again, that'll probably take a little bit of time, but not much time. So, relatively speaking, that might be a good area to buy for the long term. I don't know. I don't know anything about this project at all. This company. It looks like it's taken a massive dump. Wow. Oh my God, man. Since September of 2021. So yeah, you're hoping that you find a double bottom. I wish I looked at this first, actually, because this gives me less hope that you will, man. Dude, this is crazy. Got a lot of volume down here for sure. This could be your final, like, capitulative effort. Let's see. That's nuts, dude. That's some intense selling off. You hit your 3113. This is a new fib level that I've put on, like, as of this cycle, and I actually find it to be somewhat significant at times. It just depends. You look like you respected this all the way down, so don't break below that. You don't want to break below 44.47. You don't want to go below 44.5 cents. You can go below it. You don't want to close below it. Okay, so that's the condition. If you do, prices below 20 cents very well could be on the horizon. Let's see if anything lines up with this. It's relative fib. I'm just so zoomed out. Yeah, man, you got your 2272 deep extension on the smaller fib. It would not be crazy to see prices below 20 cents if you break, not go below, but break 44.5 cents. So, you know, this 3113 area. So don't close below there. You want to stay above there. Definitely want to form a double bottom. If you do form a double bottom, your next target based off of this fib alone, which I would think you'd respect. You've shown respect on it all the way down. Some places you didn't respect, but you're not going to respect every fib target. It's very rare that you do respect every fib target, but just some key points along the way. I would expect that your next target, if you were to move up, would be around $1, if not $1.76, and then obviously well beyond that. I mean, if we look at this, that's just based off this fib, but $1 to $1.76. Let's remember that. Let's take this high to this low. $1.50. That's right there within that range. $3.08. That would be actually the height of the expected recovery, right? That the expected what's what I'm looking for, relief rally, something like that, probably up around this area. Will it merit higher prices? Will it merit a lower high? Remains to be seen, but I do think you're probably at a relatively good area to get in, but I do think it's going to go lower over the coming days, and we are hoping that you do see some kind of standard retracement, even if it is just a lower high, because that would be nice gains in a short amount of time. Hopefully it's not just something like this, where it looks like it's going up higher, but then that's right before you're just phenomenal dump off, but we'll see. You do have a lot of volume. You are pretty oversold. You've been this oversold before, and that was just the beginning of things. I don't know. You're really far away from your 123 moving average. I feel like this is a good area to find a low. You could go lower. I mean, it's really hard to say. This is nuts, man. It's nuts. But that's what I'm calling for in the short term. A move down to about 44, 45 cents, maybe 50 cents, right, at the highest, and then probably up from there. How high do you go? I don't know. You might not go to $3, but I mean, you could, but we'll see. Time will tell. Coin. No, I'm sorry, not coin. RGS. Regis Corporation. Wow. Yeah, that's up. Let's see. 304%. We got the Dr. Mike special here. Of course, I'm talking about this after the fact, but you didn't request it till yesterday anyways, so... Or wait, when did you request this? Let me look. I'm actually going to look. Let me see real quick. Hold up. See if we can't figure this out. All right, I got you right here. 10 hours ago. 10 hours ago from whenever I snapshotted that. So it was today. It was today that you talked about it. Okay, cool. I was just making sure, because sometimes I don't see requests for like a day or two afterwards. I'm like, damn, did you give this to us before we had that 304% move? Dr. Mike, my first interpretation of this is that it's moved up 304% in one day. That's a big deal. There's probably big reasons behind that, right? Hopefully. But that has me a bit worried of, is this a good area to buy? I mean, absolutely, you can continue to grow, but you're basically at like near a 100 on your RSI. Immaculate move up. If we look at the fib, actually, for what it's worth, relative high to low here, you're at an area that would make sense to top off, and you even tipped the 886. So I don't think that you're going to see prices below $13.15. You could see prices below $16, right around that $15.25, around this high. I wouldn't be surprised if you pulled back from here, giving people an opportunity to get in. Obviously, nowhere near these low points. I really don't think you're going to break below this line, but I wouldn't be surprised if you move back to like 15.25, somewhere around there. This previous high point, check back there. You might not even go that low. You do have a closing low on a daily basis right here. Actually, that's basically right there. So there is a lot of significance between that $15 to $16 area. It would not be crazy at all to pull back there. Let's see if we can find another thing to make sense out of that. This low to high. 1573 right at your 236. It's more common. It is a lot more common to see your 382 being hit, but sometimes on really strong moves, you do consolidate like this, and then you move up. So that's what I would expect. I don't think you're going to see immediate continuation. I think something like this gets attention of people, and it could be foretelling of things to come more or less in like the immediate future, but maybe not like today, tomorrow, the next week, the next month even. I wouldn't be surprised if you consolidated for a bit, maybe like literally throughout the whole body of this candle. That's your consolidation phase, right? It's just like this kind of maneuver, and then inevitably you'll break out and continue higher. It might look exactly like that, but probably not, right? That's my best guess. It's just crazy. With a move like this, you really don't know. It's hard. This is like catching a falling knife, but catching a knife that's being thrown into the air. It's really not the easiest thing to do. A knife thrown into the air while it's flipping, I might add. Yeah, a lot of volume this week, that's for sure. Most volume you've ever seen in your life. Something big happened. I forget what you were saying. What was it that you said? Let's see. Dr. Mike, from the words of Dr. Mike himself, he said, just got a massive debt refinancing and the banks threw out $80 million. Company is also cutting expenses. EBITDA should be $35 million. Stock is 5x from here. It's massively long. This is the next. Okay. So 5x from here, that's what you're calling for. Let's see. Let's see if that's accurate, or if maybe we can do more. Maybe it's not. We'll see. Let's go. Relative high. Oh man, that's crazy, right? Look at that. You literally stopped. You tipped your 382. It wouldn't. I know I was saying $15 to $16, but I've seen this number come up a couple times too. It wouldn't be crazy if you went down between 12 to 13. There's a couple areas that have pointed relevance on that as well. You know, relative areas of resistance, relative areas of support, and then fibs on various things too. I didn't mention it, but I am mentioning it here because it's like the third time that I've seen this area come up around like 12 to $13. But from here, yeah, I think it's a five. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a 5x for sure. It could do more than that, obviously, but the 618, 69 area is let's see, that'd be like a 3.5x to a 5x potential, right? And that's your next target zone. You absolutely could go beyond that, but yeah, absolutely. I think it's good. I think you can turn it into more than that even at a minimum, right? If you snag it at, let's say you don't even get it at these upcoming lows, right? I'm saying $15 to $16, potentially down to $12 to $13, something like that. Let's say you snag it at 16.24, whatever, right there. The minimum target up would be a 4.5x, and then the maximum target would be a 6x. So if you play it right, if you're patient, you try to catch this thing as it does retrace, and I bet it would retrace. It's not uncommon at all to see your 382 go to your 236 and then up, right, up to this area specifically. So, I mean, that's at like the short side of this potential outcome. Again, if you go from this low here to this high, that 382. Again, this maneuver here from the 382 to the 236 and then up to the 618, that's a very, very common maneuver. That's like textbook. And then on top of that, you see a strong move like this, right? And I know I've got a lot going on, but try to stick with me here. From this low to this high, the 382 of this move lines up precisely with that 236. And it's very common on a strong move to actually pull back to your 382, find support there, and then move up. It wouldn't be crazy to go down there. And if you were to go down to like $12, let's say you don't catch the absolute bottom, maybe you buy at like 13.26 this time. Your minimum expectations would then be a 5.5x to potentially an 8x, like around an 8x. It'd be a 7.8x technically. So yeah, this thing's got legs for sure. I just don't think it's going to be immediately. Maybe by the end of this year, but probably not within like the next, I would assume within the next month. I mean, I would bet you consolidate for a little bit. That's my personal thoughts. You're going to be volatile and consolidate for the next, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 4 weeks, it could be 8 weeks. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. But when you get above this high, I think that's when it's on to the upside, and not just a little bit above it. Get a nice bit above it. But that's my best guess. Let's move on from there. Coinbase Global here. Let's see. I'm gonna get that there and that there. All right. Looking at this from let me check this too here. All right, we're good. From a low to a high. The way that Coinbase looks, it wouldn't surprise me if it went down to about 170, around there. That makes sense for a few reasons. Again, your 236 is there, previous areas of resistance, current areas of support. This fib goes all the way back. I'm not too worried about it. I don't think it's going to go to the 382. I would kind of expect it to go to the 236. If you take this relative low here to the high, 618, 6.9s at about 162 to 151, so maybe you do go a little bit below 170, but you could hold this. You don't have to hit these lines. You could hold something just below the 0.5 and above the 618. Like you really could do that, and that to me just looks better as far as this overall like kind of trajectory goes. Like that's not the best line, but let me see if I can draw something. Let me see. That's not what I meant to do. Yeah, something like that. Low to high, 236 sometime in August, September. I mean, maybe you move down. I don't know. That just doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right to me. I'm going to go with the idea that maybe you're in a parabolic structure. Maybe you don't need to interact with this line. You're holding support now at areas of support. It's unorthodox. It's not a real. It throws me off of my like initial bias ways of doing analysis, but I actually kind of like where you're at right now. I'm gonna look at this real quick. I don't know, man. I actually really do like where you're at. That could be your low. Coinbase might be moving up. right now. And if crypto's moving up, it would make sense that Coinbase is moving up. Your next target, I'm going to give it right now. Your next target, you're at 221.71, is 240 to 245. And if you can break through that easily on the first pass, 281 to 305 is a likelihood, and genuinely probably beyond that. Probably the deep 300s, even into the 400s, could be a possibility, because then at that point you're breaking this high, and I would think that you'd see the extensions of this move overall from the high to low, which would take you at a minimum to 313, maybe up to 456, somewhere in there. You do have the 1618 lining up with the 2272 here at 357. That is something to note. I think that area, I'm going to go for 357. That's your next target area. Let's zoom out a little bit, see if that makes sense too. Look at that, man. Beautiful, right? Can't make it up. You guys are seeing me do it like literally right before your eyes, right? I not pre-scripted. This is all off the top of my head. Previous areas of resistance right there. 357. That's your next area, man. Makes sense to me. Looks about right. Yeah. If not higher. I mean, who knows? But that's Coinbase. I mean, seriously, if not higher, because like you really could, instead of finding resistance off this line, perhaps you just break through it and then pull back to find support on it, right? And then you're ready to go, consolidating at your all-time highs. And then, I mean, that really could happen as well. So something to take note. Coinbase, I do think, is moving up. Yes, I redact my initial thoughts that I was letting out there. That's kind of how the initial part that I was talking about Coinbase, that is how my mind works initially for charts like this. But then there's other things to take into consideration, right? Like the crypto markets right now, I think, are actually in a position to bounce and recover well, which would imply that Coinbase would probably not go down. Coinbase can go down while the crypto markets go up. They're not completely tethered to each other, but you would expect Coinbase to do well if the rest of the market's doing well. Anyways, that's kind of a little bit of my thought process as to why I gave it the exception pass. Let's call it that, exception. Let's see here. 303, and thank you, Babu, for telling me that it's on either NSC or whichever one you're, NSC or BSC, I think, right? Yeah. Anytime it's not an American exchange, I appreciate whenever you guys let me know that helps, because if not, I'm gonna think it's a crypto or something. I never know. So because I'll always look for it to be an American exchange if it's a stock, right? That's just kind of how I do it. Anyways, I'll do it even if it's not on an American exchange. Obviously, we're doing it right now. I just clarify it for me. It helps me figure it out, right? So a lot of these things I haven't even heard of before. So I don't know if I want to take a fib there, actually. Okay, maybe. Hold on, let's see. We'll delete it one more time. You're getting ready to move up, definitely. I think so. I like the structure of this fib. I think you're getting ready to move up to like 470, 638, something like that. Over the coming months, year, right? Years even. That's the monthly time frame, so that could take a while. Weekly RSI is looking good. I do think you want to move up. You're consolidating. Oh, you do have a head and shoulders, but the volume's not right. I don't think it's a head and shoulders. It almost looks like it, but I don't think it is. Some form of a consolidation phase. Looking like you want to move up, in my opinion. Let's look at the daily. Daily. It looks good. The daily and the weekly look good. So I'm going to guess you're going up. Let's base it off of the relative fibs and move on from here. So from this relative high to relative low, interacting with your 382.5 area, finding resistance, moving down. I mean, if you were to continue moving down, you're at $303 now. I would expect that you do hold that $293 area. If not, if you don't even move down, you might hold this area exactly as support and just move up. I think 337 to 346 is your next target, and really, once you break 372, it's onto those prices above $400. So 372 is the real line to watch, in my opinion. And that also gets you above this high, gets you kind of above these resistance areas here. 372, 15 cents technically. Get above there, close above there on any given week, and I'll have extreme hopes that you're going to be going up to like 430 to 485, if not higher, in a very short amount of time. So that's kind of your goal right there, right? Let alone like what you're going to do beyond that. But that's kind of the more immediate look, in my opinion. And that's on a weekly basis. When I say immediate look, it could very well take months for that to happen. But anyways, MP for NK Materials Corp. Terrible. I don't even want to do TA on this, man. This thing sucks. It's down 24% this month. Okay, whatever. Down 10% this week. The RSI looks like ass on the weekly. It looks very sad on the monthly, which it takes a lot to look sad on the monthly, man. It really does. The daily also looks, it all looks bad. It all looks bad. It looks so bad. It looks very, very bad. This is the one of the worst charts that I've seen in a while. And I'm not trying to throw shade at you or talk smack anything. Of course, you could go just a little bit lower and then find a little bit of support. But you're in this lower high, lower low trend. I'm not expecting anything different until you hit this here, right? The most excitement that you're gonna have is a recovery rally up to like a lower high. Maybe you go from like $10 up to $16, $17, something like that, and that's it. But I think it's going to take you months probably to find your lows here. I'm not. Oh, hold on now. There is one thing. There's a glimmer of hope. Just a little glimmer though. But you do have like double bullish divergence, okay? You have a higher low here and a higher low here. That is double bullish divergence. I don't think it's going to hold. I really don't think it's going to hold. I think you're about to break this and you're going to break that low maybe this week or next week. But if you can close this week green or any week green, you closed that one green, but you just didn't continue. If you can get some kind of bottom here in your RSI and start to move up, then this could be your low and you might actually go up to like $21 to $25. That might be your target. I don't expect it, but that's your glimmer of hope. You would need to close. You'd either need to close this week here and then get like a couple green weeks afterwards, or get a green week this week, or just really not move too much lower. But I don't know, man. Everything about this thing looks very sad. It looks very sad. So I'm not expecting much. If anything, again, I'm expecting a lower high, but that's my personal opinion. AMC, another one that I don't have high hopes for at all. Yeah, it sold off a lot, right? This high was a back test of previous areas of support, and we rejected it so hard, like it's not even funny. It's kind of sad, right? And it makes sense. For those of you that don't know, think about what AMC is, right? I know that it pumps with GME, right? I know. GME might actually have some hope because they're restructuring it as a gaming company, right? Video games are only getting more popular by the year. As younger generations get older, because right now older generations don't play video games, but as younger generations get older, they still play video games. And then you have the younger generations after them that are being born, they're absolutely going to play video games. Maybe it's not for everybody, but I'm just saying GME, with its restructuring, if everything goes good, like I would think that it could actually have a future. Movie theaters don't have a future. There will always be movie theaters, but they're only going to become less abundant. There's going to be like small towns, stuff like that. I know in my hometown already we've lost one of our movie theaters. There's in the surrounding towns around my town, they lost their movie theaters. Like it's a dying business. I actually worked in the movie theater industry for 3 years myself, and that was like 10 years ago, man. And the CEOs, the VP of sales and merchandise or marketing or whatever, I actually knew them and would talk to them personally, and they said that they know that this industry is a dying industry, right? Their only hope is the movie theaters that are in like big cities, because that's the only place that they're actually popular. The reason why is everything's becoming digital. Everything's streamed now, right? Like you don't have to wait months and months for something to become available. There's often times where you can just wait a couple weeks. If something comes out in a movie theater, you can just wait a couple weeks before it's available on a streaming platform, right? It's easier for people to have access to. People are more willing to wait. There's just so much stuff going on, like from TV shows to other movies that are already published on streaming services. There's no real urgency to go see movies. There are some big features, of course, like big films like Marvel movies, the new Dune movie, if there's any Star Wars spin-offs, anything like that. There's definitely those crowd bringers that happen, but movie theaters are a dying industry. AMC might always be a company, it might always exist, but it's gonna take a hit, man. I don't like the way this looks. I went on a little bit of a fundamental perspective there, without really giving any facts. It was really just all my opinion, but this look, from a factual standpoint, is a disgusting look. It's not good. It doesn't mean factually it is disgusting. That does not mean factually that you can't go up. You could, but I don't think you will. I don't think this is a good sign at all. I don't like your monthly RSI. I don't like your weekly. Your weekly has a little. It could. It could. It just you need to go up like now. You don't want to go too much. If you go below 437, then you're probably going to return back down to that $3 area, and you might even go lower. But if you can hold this area, if you can move above, let's just say, really close a week above like $5, you might have hopes to return back to this 11. I don't think you're going to break this line though. I really don't think that you're going to break that line. So with AMC, I'm kind of hopeful for it right now. I kind of am hopeful that it won't break lower right now. And inevitably, I do think it's going to go to like $1. But perhaps you do move up and you form some kind of like slightly lower high or a double top. Maybe it even goes a little bit higher, but I don't think you'll actually break this level. You might pierce it, but then close below it, right? When will that happen? I don't know. Maybe soon. You might actually start moving up soon, but how high? I don't know. I do feel confident that you're going to move up higher than this rather immediately. Will you go above this high? I don't know. Will you go above this high? I definitely don't think so. Probably somewhere in between. It's a big range, but that's the best I got. Let me give it a fib to see if that helps. High to low. Yeah, maybe $8, $8.50, $10.50, somewhere around there. That's my best guess. And when will that happen? I don't know. It could happen in a week. It could happen in 2 months. I really don't know, but sometime relatively soon is what I would think. But that's AMC. And if you can't get above 616, well, then that's all she wrote, and down you go. Absolutely. So that's all. That's all I got, guys. I don't have anything else to say. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more. If I had to guess which one the winner would be, I'd actually feel the most confident in going for Coinbase. Massfin looks somewhat promising, and LPSN definitely looks promising too, but they're going to take more time, I think. LPSN probably takes less time than Massfin, but it will consolidate. I think Massfin might even move up more immediately than LPSN does. I'm sorry. I'm getting LPSN confused with RGS. RGS, I think, will consolidate for a while. I think Massfin will move up more immediately, but I think over the span of like a half year and longer, RGS will definitely outpace Massfin. But Coinbase is the one that I would say, if there's a winner, all that confusingness that I just said at the end there, Coinbase is probably the winner. So shout out to TriKings. Out of these 6 requests, I think Coinbase is the one that looks the most promising in the shortest amount of time. It would be the one that out of all of them I'd feel the most comfortable putting money in if I was looking for a short-term play. Okay? Just put it that way. So take care. Hit that like button. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.